Mortal Kombat 2?
Mortal Kombat 2 is like...
I'm glad you got some in your studio to sit up here and play this shit. But, okay, so we were talking earlier about like scariest moments, shit that happened. Watching that fucking BuzzFeed episode where the axe murderer was coming in and like butchering up people. And it got me to thinking about the story that you told us that time about when y'all were out busting creeks out in the middle of the woods. Yeah. And y'all did some shit y'all wasn't supposed to do. And then ended up suffering the consequences. Yeah. So tell us that story about
so
the day in the woods.
So this one is crazy, right? So when I was a kid, I was staying in Austin at the time, right? Mm-hmm. So my mom ended up getting this apartment on the south side of Austin. A lot of people don't know. It was kind of near the hood. It wasn't really near the hood, but it was south side, Riverside, Games Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Y'all know, motherfucker, anybody from the hood knows about fucking Games Galaxy and all that shit over there. So anyway, we stayed in this apartment on the south side of town. And I remember one weekend, my homeboy Chaka came over, Lewis, Chaka Tasby. My homeboy Johnny Walker came over, Sheekum, and there was a few other friends that came over. Mm-hmm. So we were all like, man, let's go explore these woods by the house. So these woods are kind of like almost adjacent to, I think it's St. Edward's University. It's on the south side of Austin, if I'm not mistaken. That's the name. But anyway, there's this wooded area. I mean, on the map, it looks like it's about a square mile of just like uncharted woods. Mm-hmm. So it is, because when you go out there, there's just nothing but woods and woods and woods for as long as you can see. So we went out there one night. I mean, not one night, went out there one morning, real early. And we were just fucking around, throwing rocks and shit, shooting squirrels on this shit.
So y'all found a house, so this is y'all in the woods?
This is us in the woods.
Okay.
So this is us in the woods.
Okay.
So then we're going down through the woods, and then we come across this path that leads deeper into the woods. I mean, it seemed like we walked for like a good 20, 15 minutes into the woods. And then we saw like this small makeshift cabin. It was like the size of a bedroom. Right? And it was like kind of hidden off behind these trees. So we're like, oh shit. We thought this was funny. So we went over there because we kind of thought like, it's probably some little kid's hideout or something like that, right? So we went over there, we went in, and we noticed there was a bed in there.
How old were y'all?
Man, we had to be about like 12 and 13, I think it was.
Okay.
So we go inside, and it's a cabin. Yeah. I remember he had like tools, or whoever it was had tools, that little bed. They had like, stuff on the walls, I was like, damn, someone lives here. So what do? We decided to trash the place, right? Which is, stupid as shit. But we're like, oh, this is our place. All right, shit, I don't know who shit this is. Flip the bed over. We trash the place and do all this shit. So we were like, ha, 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 ha. So we end up leaving. And then we're like, oh, man, that was so fucking fun.
Trash the place.
Yeah, we trashed the place. So we ended up going home, sat on the couch for a little bit. I remember everybody went home. Everybody came back the next day. The next day they came back, we're like, yo, let's go back to our little hideout out there and let's have some fun. So, they're like, hell yeah, let's go. So it was, bright sunny day. We going into the woods, and then we find the path. We start following the path, and we start leading up to the little cabin. So as soon as we got to the cabin, probably about a good 100 yards away, this dude steps out of the cabin. We're like, oh shit. And, he was like, middle-aged white man, probably in his 40s or so, late 30s maybe. Mm-hmm. Homeless people, they kind of have age acceleration going on, so we probably couldn't really tell.
How big was he?
He was about 6 foot, 6'2", whatever.
Skinny, fat?
Yeah, skinny guy. Very just, like you said, mountain man looking beard. It was real long and scruffy. Long hair. He had a hat on. He had a lumberjack style coat or jacket or whatever it was
Classic
on.
Serial killer.
Yeah, man. Classic serial killer shit. So anyway, he steps out onto the porch. So he just stands there. And I remember he looked and he saw us. And then he kind of like looked around like this, like he was looking around to see who else was out there. And it was just us. So now I was like, man, that was some weird shit. So we're standing there looking at him like, maybe we should just go. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So then he fucking goes back inside, rumbles around for a second, comes right out the fucking front door of the axe.
Oh.
So we're like, oh shit. So we like take off and we start running. And I remember I told everybody, because there's a path that we know so it was a path, and it would lead to the parts of the highway. So we all knew that these paths lead to the highway. So we got to this one point, and I said, "Fucking split up." I told my friends, I said, "Split up." I remember Chaka and Johnny went one way, Sheikah went another way, and I went down this middle path, and we were running full speed. So then we all came out at different sections. So I was like, shit. So we were running fast as shit. So we left this cat. So then we got, out to the edge of the forest where the forest, you come out of it and there's a highway in front of us, right? So we're like, okay, we cool. We by the highway. So I'm looking and I don't see him. Then from the down, probably, like I said, about 100, 150 yards, I can see him. He's ducking down in the weeds with the axe, and he's ducking down and he's going through the weeds like this, so you couldn't see him. But me, my eyesight, I have, everybody knows me, I have sniper vision, so I'm looking and I could fucking see him. I was like, oh my God. It's but I was like, he was still so far away, I was like, we'll still have a good head start on him. But anyway, when we got out and I started coming out of the thing, and I was like, I remember, I never forget, Sheikah and Chaka was standing in front of me, and then they looked to tell me something. And I remember he turned his head like this. He was like, oh, shit. And then I was like, oh, when he took off, I was like, fuck, you know how it is when black people take off. So you automatically you just start fucking running. But even when I came out of the opening, I looked, that motherfucker was down the way,
the dude was
coming
fast.
up over the hill
And
with the axe, running full speed. I was like, fuck. So then we're running up the highway. We're yelling at cars. People are ignoring us.
Yeah, what were y'all yelling at the cars?
Because the cars on the side of the highway, and we're coming up the highway. So we're coming up. So you ever been driving? Anybody knows you're in Houston, wherever city, and you're coming up on that pass, and they have the bridge that goes over the highway.
Yeah.
So we're running up on that side right there, trying to get to that bridge across the highway because our apartment complex is across the highway.
Yeah.
Right. So we're running. This guy is gaining on us. He's getting closer and closer and closer to where now I can see his face.
Yes.
And he was extremely upset.
Yeah.
And he had an axe. So fuck. So anyway, he right when I crossed the highway, he got so close to us to where when we crossed the bridge, he was coming onto the bridge.
Ooh.
And I was like, shit. And I remember I dropped my pocket knife and I had an arrow. I don't know fucking why. But I had an arrow on me and I dropped the arrow. And I was like, shit. And I turned around and I remember my homie was like, man, fucking go. Just go. So I was like, let's run into the hotel. So we ran into the hotel. And then in the very back, there was a huge ballroom with a bunch of people in it. We ran in there and we hid under the front table in the ballroom. Everybody just looking at us like, all right. I'm like, y'all don't fucking see there's a guy with the axe chasing us? And the guy was like, who? Who you kids talking about? He was just blowing it off. It felt just like a fucking horror movie when people are like, there's someone trying to kill me. And people are like, oh,
that's
really?
That's really how people react.
Someone's trying to kill you? Oh, that's cool. Man. Motherfucker, this dude is chasing us in broad daylight.
Yeah.
So then the hotel owner went outside. The dude turned around. He ran back into the forest.
Yeah. But he saw the guy too.
He saw the guy too.
Okay.
So he calls the cops. The cops come out like an hour, 2 hours later. They go back there and they look. They're like, oh, we don't see nothing. I'm like, you see a cabin though.
Yeah.
You see someone was out here.
Yeah.
He's fucking out here still. Oh, well, we don't give a shit. That was their attitude.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? So, all these kids are like crying. They were like stressing out. There was like PTSD.
Y'all had no business fucking with that dude.
I know, we had no business fucking shit. But what made it worse was that everybody went home.
Yeah.
And my fucking apartment was directly by the forest. It's just like how the forest is out here. You can come outside and you can see the forest.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this nigga is watching me. I was like, I'm gonna get fucking murdered because so it was the whole summer. The whole fucking summer, I was paranoid as shit. So this leads to the second part of the story. I know this is a long story, but it's the second part of the story, which is even weirder, right? It's even weirder. So
No. If they want to know the second part of the story, they got to tune in tomorrow.
Okay, so there's a second part of the story that ties in that has nothing to do with the other story, but it's just as crazy because it kind of does have something to do with the other story.
Okay.
And it's a wild coincidence.
Okay.
So anyway, all right, I'll tell the next story next time. But I was paranoid the whole summer because we got chased by a fucking axe murderer. We got away, and it was just the weirdest shit ever. It was like Stranger Things.
Okay.
It was just like how So anyway, I'll tell the second part of the story tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we'll go over that, and then we'll go over that. So anyway, you got it.